like to talk about the beginning of the end of the Zionist project as I see it, and I wrote about it in some places, but I would like to clarify it. I think that before the 7th of October 2023, the Zionist project was already like a building with a lot of cracks in its foundation. And what the 7th of October did, it was like an earthquake to a shaky house. It extended the cracks. And now we can see the beginning of the collapse of that project. And let me indicate what kind of processes we already see that have the power and the potential in the future to end that project or to bring to its collapse. One is the social implosion from within Israel. Already before the 7th of October, there was a kind of a civil war between the secular Jews and the religious Jews. If you want, it was a battle between the state of Judea that was born in the Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank with its electorate and power bases inside Israel that slowly swallows what used to be the state of Israel, the more liberal, the more progressive, the more multicultural, if you want, Israeli society. Although the one thing these two camps have in common, they were both supporting the idea of an apartheid Jewish state. But there was a debate, and there is a debate. What does it mean to have a Jewish state? Is it going to be a Jewish liberal secular state for the Jews, of course not for the Palestinians, or should it be a more theocratic messianic state? And the process we clearly see is that the state of Judea, this messianic, more national religious camp, is taking over Israel. It already took over the police. It's about to take over the judicial system, the secret service, the army, and the media. And this is very important to note because it means that there is no cohesion. There is no common basis for the Israeli Jewish society. A second process is the process of the isolation of Israel in the world. The more Israel becomes the state of Judea, the more it becomes more fascist, less democratic, more racist, the less it is supported even by those parts of the community or international system that used to support it. It's losing more and more friends and allies as a result of the transformation of Israel into what I call the state of Judea. And this process will continue and will contribute to the collapse of the project. A third process, it's what goes on with the Jewish communities around the world, especially the young Jewish generation, and in particular in the United States. Young Jews all over the world and in the United States do not see the Judaism anymore connected to Zionism or to Israel. They have other ways of defining the Judaism, even if they are not religion. And without the Jewish support from the world, it would be very difficult to sustain the Zionist project. A fourth process, which is very important, is the economic weakness of Israel. The Israeli army and society cannot sustain a long war like the one they were involved in from the 7th of October. The expenditures are huge, and you already can feel it in the street, in the market, that Israel is undergoing a serious economic crisis that it's very difficult to see how it gets out of it unless the United States would provide this huge financial assistance, much more than it ever had paid Israel before. And even President Trump would not be the one who would be willing to pay that much money to sustain the Jewish state. A fourth process is the weakness of the army that was exposed on the 7th of October. And this is even given the fact that Hezbollah did not join Hamas in the joint attack of Israel. The confidence of the society itself in the army is very low. And without that confidence, again, it would be very difficult to sustain such a project. And the last and not least important process is the changes we can see in the young Palestinian society. Unlike the present politics of Palestine, which are disunited, fragmented, there is no clear representation, there's no clear vision. If you look at the Palestinian young society, and it's one of the youngest in the world, you can see that there is far more uniformity of vision, of how to move forward. And I think that regeneration of the Palestinian national movement would also play a very important role in bringing down or eventually leading to the collapse of the Zionist project. I just want to warn about something. A collapse of a project or like a state can be very dangerous. It can lead to a lot of violence, and if it's not filled by a better project, it can lead to a disastrous, chaotic reality. Look at Syria today. Look at Libya and Yemen. We have these kind of situation in the Arab world. So it's very important that the Palestinian national movement would be there to fill the void that the collapse would create, and hope, and we should hope that it can transform through decolonization what is today an apartheid state, a state of occupation, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, into a democratic state for everyone who lives between the river and the sea, with the refugees all returning, those who wish to return, and rebuilding that kind of coexistence that was in Palestine before 1948, where Muslim, Christians, and Jews coexisted and contributed to each other's culture and well-being. And this is the kind of model that can only be built if we end the Zionist project, if we dismantle the Zionist institution, and we end the apartheid regime and create a democratic one for everyone, as the Palestinian national movement always demanded ever since it was recreated or re-established after 1948.